This is the brand new Flow Studio by Softube, and it's one of the best new studio gadgets I've tried this year. It's a controller, a mixing tool, and it aims to solve a problem in your music studio. In fact, something I have first-hand experience with, getting your songs finished faster. You know when you're recording a song or getting some new ideas down and you just need it to sound good enough quickly? That's what it does. It applies mixing tools to improve your sound without you having to think too much. Drums, boom, and done. And I'm not even tweaking every little thing on the computer. In this video, I'll show you how the Flow Studio can work with your music creation workflow, and we'll go over some pros and cons and other options you may have too. So what is this? Well, there are two pieces that work together, the Softube software and the Flow Studio hardware. And you get both when you buy Flow Studio. It's $399 retail and comes with everything you need to get started. You'll own the hardware, the included effects, no subscription needed. All right, let's talk about this software first. It's Softube's Mixing Suite plugin that runs in any DAW. So I'm running Logic Pro here, and I have the Mixing Suite plugin on pretty much every track. And it's running a preset, or flow as Softube calls it. And you're gonna notice I have no other effects plugins on these tracks, just Mixing Suite loaded on each track. In the Mixing Suite plugin, you'll see a number of effects in each flow. I'll get to more details about the software later. Okay, so that's the software, and pretty much just one Mixing Suite plugin on each track. And then there's the hardware, and this is your quick hands-on control of the Mixing Suite flow. But here's what makes it different from other MIDI controllers. It's super focused and limited in a good way. For example, I loaded a preset flow for my vocals, and now I can raise or lower the full collection of effects with the large encoder here. This one knob is doing everything. It's controlling the full intensity of what the flow is doing. So as I raise it,
it might seem cruel, but I got no humor for these rumors while I'm moving to the top.
You'll hear the delay, reverb, and compression all impacting my voice more, and it's doing it all at once. And I have control of each individual effect in the flow as well with these 4 smaller encoder knobs. So I can adjust just the delay or the compression. You don't have to go into threshold and ratio and all that stuff unless you really want to. It's just making minimal controls that make the biggest impact.
There's a rhythm of an open box, move a little, groove a little. What happens in my room stays in my room. No way this scandal goes international. So
I want to take you through everything on this controller, every button here and everything in the software too. But first, I want to tell you where I wished I'd had this. I was in LA a few weeks ago doing some songwriting with Jonathan Morrison and a few friends for a week. And honestly, as soon as I got the Flow Studio, I said to myself, I wish I had this in LA. This would have been perfect. You see, we were writing melodies and lyrics together, and then we'd go into Jonathan's studio and we'd record a take of vocals, or throw on some drums or a bass line, and then keep going really fast. But we spent a lot of time adding individual plugins, making things sound good enough for the moment. But this, the Flow Studio, would have been so quick for us. It would have just gotten each track to sound much better quickly. If you just want to get your demo going, this is going to be good enough. And in fact, you do have control over all of the effects in the Mixing Suite software. It's really cool how deep you can get if you want to. Oh, and by the way, if you want to pick up the Softube Flow Studio or any of the gear you've seen in my videos, check out guitarcenter.com or your local Guitar Center store, where you can find everything. So before I started using Flow Studio, I had this song going and I hadn't done much to it. It sounds fine, but you hear in the drums the kick really sticks out in the mix, and my vocals are pretty much just dry. Also, I needed a plugin for the guitars because it was lost in the mix as well. So I added the Mixing Suite plugin to each track that needed some help. That's the only thing you have to do in your DAW. After that, you can do everything else on the Flow Studio hardware. And I have to say that this screen here is awesome in person. It's high resolution and it's super useful. It just looks gorgeous. Let's start fresh with the vocals. So I just added the Flow Mixing Suite plugin, and now I can choose a preset. So let's filter by vocals. And let's try the modern pop vocal.
Couple glasses and the champagne pops.
Solo it.
Then on the floor while we both detox, yo. There's a rhythm of an open box. Move a little, groove a little.
That's it. Vocal effects are done. So this preset added drive, tone, FET compression, opto compression, delay, and reverb. And of course, you can control everything with the one knob as well. So that's what you're going to be doing most of the time, just choosing a preset, inserting a flow, and then adjusting the flow with the main macro knob, maybe doing a few tweaks with the smaller ones. So can you do more? Yes, there's a detail button here where you can go into the individual effects included in the flow and adjust other things. So in the compression, I can adjust the ratio if I want. I can adjust the time, the sidechain, wet and dry, all of that stuff. But once you're on these detail screens, you might as well just be looking at your computer and then tweak away. Now, check out this trick. If you press Shift and Display, you can actually see the EQ live or see the frequency bar graph or the stereo image and LUFS. This really shows a lot of useful information here. All right, let's add some flavor to the guitars so they sit better in the mix, and then we're gonna do the drums. No effect. I liked acoustic guitar too. Adjust the intensity. Sounding a lot better in the mix. Now let's do the drums next. The drums need a lot of help. And for this one, I'll show you that I created my own preset, Sanjay Energy Drum Bus. Let's listen to the drums soloed. Bypassed. And in the mix. Bypassed. Big difference. And this flow has everything from tone to dynamics, width, drive. Let's adjust some of those. Now, this is a MIDI controller, so there are actually some DAW controls here, but not that much. With a compatible DAW like Logic, you can control volume and pan with the DAW button here. So I'm on the drums right now. I can also switch to another track. Now I'm adjusting the lead vocal. Horns. So yeah, a little bit of DAW control, but just a few functions. All right, so what are the effects that you get with Flow Studio? Well, you get 25 Softube software effects and you own them forever, no subscription. You have everything from delays, compressors, chorus, EQs, guitar cabs, reverb, even a vocal tuner. It's pretty much got everything you need to get your song or demo sounding ready. They've included over 100 flow signal chains, so you can choose from lots of preset flows. Now, I should mention something here. If you're familiar with Softube, you probably know they have a flow mixing and mastering suite already. You can expand this to include more effects if you want. In fact, Softube makes other controllers as well, the Console 1 fader and channel controllers. This hardware is actually the same size, so if you have those, you can expand your hardware with the new Flow Studio, and it kind of all just works together. But I'm glad they made the Flow Studio because this is where I think most people should begin to get hands-on control of their mixing situation. This will give you quick results and this gorgeous screen that really makes sense for these workflow tools. So as far as other controls here, there isn't really much. You've got a USB-C in, you've got a button to change what you're seeing on the screen. You can choose some favorites, adjust your tracks or bypass. Then you've got a solo and mute button. You've got an action button here to go previous or next. There's some cancel and OK buttons. You can switch here from the flow view or choose a preset. That's how you get to presets. Or you can also go into the detailed view. So now I'm going through all the details for the tuning plugin. And then there's also the DAW view. You can see levels here, and here's where you can adjust your track volume and pan. And now we're back to the flow. All right, I want to talk about some alternatives to something like Flow Studio. I call this a MIDI controller, so you might even start thinking of things like keyboards with knobs or faders, or something like a pad controller that Akai makes. And with those, you typically get controls for your DAW's stock plugins, which still require you to manually add each plugin to each track, and then you have control of the parameters, and it's a bit different. It usually requires some thinking ahead, maybe some mapping of controls between your controller and the DAW, and it doesn't have the instant gratification and instant results that Softube is aiming to give you with the Flow Studio. Now, another alternative that does work very well is macro controls for plugins or plugin chains. Ableton Live does this really well, and it's built into the DAW. So you can create your own plugin chains, kind of like flows are in here, and you can control it with an external MIDI controller in this similar way that Softube is doing. But you are lacking the visual feedback that you are getting with the Flow Studio. It's designed for quick mixing control, and most other MIDI controllers are designed with playing in mind or designed to just fit generic workflows. Still, if you want something like these flows and you're okay with creating plugin chains yourself, you can accomplish a lot with the Ableton macro controls. And you might be the type of person that likes to create your own plugin chains with all those details instead of using something like this. So then, who is this for? I think this is going to be great for singer-songwriters, or if you're just trying to get a demo out. It gets your music sounding great really fast. It's really nice too if you're not a pro mixer or you're new to the whole music creation thing. This gives you hands-on control and good results without having to learn every plugin and what every parameter does to start sounding good. I think this is great for people who are not making mixing their job. It just works out of the box and without knowledge of a lot of the jargon. And honestly, I would use it for just getting quick results when I want to stay in the songwriting mode rather than switching my brain to mixer mode. I can stay inspired in the songwriting flow. Let's talk about some pros and cons. Pros, it does what it says on the box. I think this whole thing actually works really well. Also, Softube makes excellent effects plugins, so you know you're getting quality effects in this, not just some generic stuff. The screen is gorgeous and useful, and the size is just right. It's big enough to see very clearly, yet it's not going to take a whole lot of space on your desk. Also, I think this is priced right in my opinion. You're getting a well-built piece of hardware and the effects software as well, no subscriptions, and it's quality stuff. This feels like a premium product that should cost more than what it does. Now, on the con side, first things first, I would have loved to have play, stop, and record buttons included. Those buttons get used the most when I'm recording something in, and it would have kept my hands away from the keyboard. And it would have made this so useful if, for example, you're recording your guitar a little distance away from your desk. Also, you are limited to the effects collection that they give you. So if you already got your favorite effects plugins already set, you're not going to be able to replicate them one-to-one in the Flow Studio. It's got its own set of effects. You might get close though. Finally, you don't have knobs for every single thing and every single detail in every one of the effects that are included in a flow. But that's the whole point. You don't want to be here tweaking every single parameter. It just wants to get you to a good sound as quickly as possible. All right, final thoughts. This is not a must-have device, but I think it serves its purpose really well. I think above and beyond what MIDI controllers can do for you. And I love that Softube is giving us some hardware that's more affordable now. They've got a great reputation in the controller market for mixers, and now there's something that feels like an entry-level piece of gear that can also expand with you later if you like the Softube workflow. And it's really one of the coolest new pieces of gear I've tried this year. If you're interested in picking up the Flow Studio, I'll add links below. And hey, if you're looking for a list of my favorite gear and plugins released in the last year, watch the video right here. Keep making the music you love, and I'll see you later.